Hi everybody, welcome to Heel Heat. This is our TNA and More show. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner, Wayne Bloom.
Gary Rhodes. That's just disappointment. And you.
Well, disappointing you every week, so.
You just disappoint me. Anyways.
Anyway, going right into it, before we go into the show, we got some good news. Gary, why don't you tell them about it?
Finally! I got my shirt. They sent me an extra shirt too. I'm not going to say what the shirt is right now because I'm going to wear it kind of as a surprise for Halloween. But the barbershop window came through, and I mean, it took, what, 6 weeks?
6 weeks to come.
But I got my shirt, and they sent me another free shirt since I had to wait for so long for my troubles.
Well, basically, since you complained, you got a free shirt.
Exactly.
But they did make good. I don't think I'd ever order from them because the wait time's just too long for me.
No, I wanted my shirt. No, I should probably wear it next show.
Yeah. But anyway, now going into the TNA show, the first thing we had that I wanted to talk about was the Kurt Angle versus Chavo Guerrero versus Daniels match. Basically, it was a preview of the Bound for Glory tag team match with these three guys going at it. A decent match, not bad at all. I think Daniels went over basically because they had because Aaron and Daniels lose last week.
It brought him back up. Plus, he performed in top heel fashion. I think he was awesome. He's getting to become one of my favorite heels in the company.
Yeah. Him and Kazarian both.
Oh yeah, I like Kaz too, but I'm saying during this match, he shined out a lot better than.
And they gave the match a decent amount of time. It was about a 20-minute match, so they gave a good time to work out. The three guys worked well together. Angle and Chavo have a little bit of history wrestling in WWE before, and obviously Angle and Daniels have a little bit of history together. So it was a good pairing, good three-way match. Not anything great, but good for a TV match.
It was solid.
And after that, we had the ODB versus Tara match for the #1 contender for the Knockouts title.
I'll give them this. The Knockouts match was better than WWE's Diva match from Monday.
What I did like was the little things that Eric Young was doing. Like, he was coming up and asking for the tag and tried to grapple with the referee. What's her name? Drew McIntyre's old lady. Well, former old lady.
Yeah, well, Eric Young, he's just awesome, man. I think they should start doing more with Eric. He's always solid. He's funny.
Well, that's something I want to talk about in a little bit about Eric Young. That's something I think he could have fit into personally instead of being the Knockouts Tag Team Champion. Which, do they even have enough Knockouts anymore to keep that belt around?
I just think it's just there for show, buddy.
Really, they got the Beautiful People have all left. Winner's left. Daphne's left. Who do they really got? Aside from bringing someone like Rosita and Sarita aren't even on the show anymore. Aside from bringing someone like Kong back, or if Beth Phoenix does leave, then throwing money at her to come.
I'm sure she'd go.
They need to, if they're going to have a Knockouts tag team title, they need to have a few more Knockouts. What do they got, 5 total on the roster?
I think so. It's gotten really slim to none.
You got Tara, Gail Kim, Tessmacher, and ODB.
Is Madison still there?
Madison Rain's still there.
See, I thought they were stupid from taking a belt from her with the whole Earl Hebner thing in the beginning. I thought that was just stupid.
They could have milked it for longer.
Yeah. I don't know. They had to have some place for Brooke Hogan to put her foot in, so.
And they had the backstage segments on Gut Check.
Gut Check.
Basically, I understand. Al Snow getting reamed out by Brother Love about him hitting Joey Ryan, which it was okay.
And this week there was nothing to do with Joey Ryan, so.
Yeah. And speaking of Gut Check, or speaking of backstage segments, we want to introduce a new segment that we're going to do on our TNA show. It's called the Hulk Hogan Count. And basically, what it is, Hulk Hogan dominates the show. On this show, we took account, we took notice. He started with the opening segment. He did several backstage segments. He was in the Aces and Eights vignettes. Is the Hulkster here? Hulk's running in on our show even now. He's trying to take away from our airtime, but the Hulk Hogan count is 8 times we've seen Hulk Hogan on the screen in a 2-hour show. And that's entirely too much. I mean,
all joking aside, he's stealing from the young people.
And he's taking time away from kids that actually could be on there and deserve to be on there.
Well, I'm gonna jump up a scene. I'm gonna say the one of the things that kind of irritated me with all this Hogan stuff was the match for the vacated title with Joe and Anderson. I know I'm stepping up a little bit, but I wanted to get into that. You know, that match was short as shit. Them two guys could put on a better match than they did. I'm glad Joe got over, but I felt robbed that I didn't see more moves from Joe or Anderson.
Joe's the new Grand Slam champion.
He is.
Won every title that TNA has had to offer at this point.
And like I said, I was happy at that point, but I was kind of sad that, they could have done so much more.
Yeah, the two good workers. I mean, Joe's one of my absolute favorites. And, I mean, if you guys know that if you watch our TNA shows, I love Joe a lot as a wrestler.
He does. He writes some letters.
I do. I stalk Joe.
Joe, would you come talk to me in at night?
Right. I mean, it was a decent match, not bad. Now that's what I wanted to bring up Eric Young for. See, I don't think Joe fits into the TV title picture. I think he's bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
I think they gave it to him so they could say he's a Grand Slam champion if they ever decide to bring that up. But I think Eric Young would have been better fit to be the guy that won the TV championship here.
Well, of the 4 that they were talking about, at the beginning of the show to put in the match, Magnus was my favorite on it. Just for the one fact that, they're building a kid up. He's 25 years old.
Yeah.
He could be a monster heel as far as, being the pretty boy heel, pulling the television title roles, stuff like that.
Like Tully Blanchard.
Exactly. He could be another Tully Blanchard, and they just shit on it. It's sad, but I thought that
and the guy that didn't fit at all was Garrett Bischoff.
Garrett, whatever.
What did he even deserve to be out there? What has he done to deserve a chance at any title?
Well, you know what, Garrett? I've been watching you lately, and you've failed to let me down, brother. How's he? I mean, he's on TV like once every 2 months. And he was mostly Devon's do-boy for the most part. Really, to be honest, he should be on Gut Check, not most of these other kids.
And that brings me to the actual Gut Check segment. They brought out the kid, I forget what his name, Evan Markopoulos. The kid, he got 2 votes no, 1 vote yes. Taz voted yes. Pritchard and Al Snow voted no. I kind of disagree with him here. This is a kid I actually seen a lot of talent, a lot of potential in. He's 18 years old, so you bring him onto the roster. I mean, I understand that he's probably going to be in OVW working for them eventually. But bring this kid to the roster, man. He's been wrestling for 5 years at 18.
I think they could have done like a number of things with this kid. They could have made him like another 1, 2, 3 kid. A small kid just getting his ass handed to him and then get a fluke victory.
Or like Mikey Whipwreck even.
Exactly. And it's just like this Gut Check is really just a disappointment to me. All joking aside, the 2 guys that should have won so far that I've seen didn't.
Joey Ryan and this kid.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not really high on the smaller guys.
No.
But I see a lot of potential in this kid. And like you just said, he's 18 years old. He has a whole wrestling career ahead of him.
Well, another thing I think that they should do with Gut Check, instead of bringing these guys that even guys like us that are wrestling fans don't know who they are, why not bring up some of these bigger indie wrestlers? I know Joey Ryan's a big in the indies, but you got other guys out there like El Generico, Eddie Kingston. You got guys that are, in and out of Ring of Honor that could be on there at any time. I mean, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla's got a big roster of great talent over there. Dragon Gate USA, Evolve, they all got really good wrestlers, guys like Joey Gargano, that are ready to be like put in front of a big screen, put on TV. Who knows, one of these kids, one of these big indie talents, just like Daniel Bryan or CM Punk, could be the guy that brings TNA up to the next level. I mean, look at how much of a jump up they got when they brought in Samoa Joe.
Or even Austin Aries, for that fact. Austin Aries has really jumped up their ratings, I think.
And, yeah, and I think that's what they should do with it more. Myself personally, I don't like the format of gut check. I don't like that. Most of the times I don't know the kid coming out there, and I watch wrestling. I watch indie wrestling. I watch stuff all over the world, and this, to me, this kid I thought was someone that should have won. The kids that I don't think that I don't think should win, they're letting go through, and the guys that I think that should win are going to the wayside.
Exactly. It's just like they're really shitting on some good guys, some guys they could use to build their company up and actually, send them up to the next level, make them another upper echelon company, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like they're satisfied with being number two.
Right.
And they're just not hungry, for being a bigger company. And to do that, they're going to need better talent. And they're just highlighting guys like Jeff Hardy, guys like
Hulk Hogan on the
Hulk
screen
Hogan.
8 times.
I
mean,
Sting.
where was guys like Kenny King, Zema Ion? Guys like that could have been on there.
And that's the thing. This Zema Ion, I wasn't really high on at first, but I'm liking the whole heel gimmick that he's doing now. I'm really liking, how he's cheating to win. I like
Even
that.
guys like Dakota Darso, who they brought in for a little while. Guys, they got guys that could have been on the show that would have brought more wrestling to the show. And
Bring back Shark Boy. I was entertained with Shark Boy. All joking aside, the whole when he was the Stone Cold ripoff, I thought that was hilarious.
Shark Boy 24/7.
Exactly. There's certain gimmicks that really should have went. Hell, even Curry Man got over, but now both of them are the tag team champion. Well, no, actually, Curry Man's half the tag team. I was thinking of Suicide. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
Both
said Carter
versions.
this week.
Or the Sin Cara Botch of the Week.
I guess.
So you got Heel of the Week and Botch of the Week in the same week.
Just because I'm that awesome.
You got the Grand Slam Championship, GR.
I'll play my theme music on the way out.
But on to what I want to talk about now. We posted a question out to you guys, our question of the week from last week. Who do you think was better of the Hardy Boys, Matt or Jeff? We have some answers from some of our friends out there. The first one is from our friend the Mass Tweeter, who, by the way, before we get into his question, did an awesome promo for us. He put it up
Thank you
today.
so much.
I really loved it. Tweeter, it was awesome. I hope us mentioning on your show gives you 1/10 of what you're doing for us, because we appreciate the heck out of it. We think you're an awesome dude. You seem like a really cool guy. I really want to get together at some point and do a show with you.
That'd be something nice to do.
And not to bring, I'd like to do a show with Paul and the guys from the Deadly Sins and all. But Tweeter, we
George is
appreciate
ready for some more beer with the tomato juice in it.
No, not yet. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. Mass Tweeter sent us I think Matt is a better wrestler. Jeff is definitely more marketable. But for me, Matt is the talented one when it comes to wrestling. Both suck on the stick.
So is Lita.
Just ask CM Punk.
I set him up and he knocks him out of the park, kids.
That's how I do it. But
He ended up stealing my swing.
no, I didn't steal your swing.
Damn it.
I don't steal like gimmicks that are crap. I steal good gimmicks.
Oh, my gimmick's awesome.
Yeah, okay.
Like Johnny Carson. Pow. Anyways, go back.
But anyway, I agree with some of the things that Tweeter said here. Now, also, from our friend Paul Panda Bear Pickett, he put, I've been a Jeff mark since he was in the Brood. I love high-risk spots. Gotta go with Jeff. Another good points. I known for a while that Paul's been a Jeff Hardy fan. I think he even has a picture on his Facebook of him and Jeff together. What do you think it was, GR?
I always go between the two of them. I'm not really a fan of both, because in their era, they feuded with my favorite and his partner, or my favorite tag team, Agent Christian. But I'm going more towards Matt, just because Matt's not just specifically a spot wrestler. Matt can get down and dirty and wrestle when he wants to. Not saying that Jeff can't, but he doesn't. He's just a glory hound of the team. Where Matt was more like your Bret Hart worker, Jeff was more like a Sabu or RVD ripoff. That was my opinion.
My opinion, and this might be a surprise to some of you guys because I've talked bad about him on several of our shows, I think out of the two, I think Jeff is the better of the two. Just for the pure simple fact that Jeff moves the needle, moves the ratings needle. When he's on your show, you want to watch him. He's someone that sells a ton of merchandise. He's TNA's biggest merch seller. He was a huge merchandise seller over at WWE. Kids love him. The only problem I have with him personally is he doesn't give a shit enough about a business that we love.
He doesn't. Okay, so you're saying you would go for him more in that aspect, but as a fan, if you were watching a match with him or Matt versus D. Bryan or Samoa Joe, who do you think would put on a better show?
I still think for the aspect that Jeff Hardy has a more big game feel to it. He's been to the World Championship before.
Yeah, he's even had the WWE Championship.
I mean, where Matt hasn't quite made it up to that levels. He had the shit ECW title, the fake ECW title, but Jeff's been to the top of TNA, the top of WWE. I mean, the guy, to me, I like Matt, don't get me wrong. I think Matt's a really solid wrestler. I think he's got by a lot riding the coattails of other people off of either Edge or Jeff or whoever else it was. Yeah, I did really like the feud that Matt had with MVP. I think that's the highlight of Matt Hardy's career for me is Matt's feud with MVP.
Oh, yeah. All their backstage segments and stuff like that too really worked out good together. With Jeff, I think his best feud was with CM Punk. I liked his with Orton. They put on solid matches, but I liked his against Punk. Mr. Straight Edge versus Mr. Dober. And they brought that to light back then.
I like that. I really, honestly, I can't think of too many Jeff Hardy feuds. He hasn't had many straight out feuds with anybody. The only other person that really comes to mind is the feud he had in his first run in TNA when he was feuding with Abyss. I really liked the work they did that time around, personally.
Abyss is a great worker. And I thought this, whenever Matt or Jeff's with somebody that can work, he steps his game up. Yeah. Kind of like we were talking about John Cena. He steps his game up with Punk and Alberto Del Rio, stuff like that. But, like you said, he has a bigger game appearance. I just like, if I'm watching for, a fan's point of view as a match, I go for, that's fine.
And we have our own opinions. Now, the question of the week for this week, who do you think is going to be the biggest loss on the TNA roster, Devon or Alex Shelley? Let us know what you think. Hit us up on Twitter, send us a message on Facebook, put it down where?
Down there.
That's his only spot, people.
Out of the park, kids.
And there's the gimmick. But let us know what you think. Put it right down there in the comments. We'll tell you. We'll talk about it on the next show. Let you know what we think. And then the last thing we really have to speak about, other than the little Aces and Eights segments, which were kind of, at this point, they're getting a little bit
lame.
Yeah, they're starting to get lame. The gimmick's kind of running its course. But the main event in the night, Bobby Roode and Bully Ray versus Jeff Hardy and
Calves and abs, baby.
As soon as he said that, all I thought about was the Will Ferrell movie, The Boats and Hoes.
Boats and hoes, calves and abs.
They can't hear you, GR.
Calves and abs.
Anyway, it was a decent match, nothing too terrible. It helped put over the Aries and Jeff more than it put over this match. I really would like if between now and Bound for Glory they added Bully Ray and made it a three-way match, because he seems to be the glue that's holding that feud together.
He is. He's a legit heel, and he's in the middle of the storyline.
Right.
Put him in it. I think if they want a better ratings, put Bully Ray in it.
Better buy rate.
Oh, better buy rate. I'm sorry. Sorry, Linda. But, better buy rate. I think they should go with that as a triple threat.
It was a decent tag team match. It kind of felt like Teddy Long booked TNA, though.
The next match is going to be you going one-on-one with The Undertaker.
Anyway.
Sorry, that's my Teddy Long.
It wasn't too bad. Overall the show, it moved really fast. It had a good, nice pacing to it. It wasn't a bad show, even with the tons of Hogan references and Hogan appearances. I would have liked to them have cut maybe 3-4 of the Hogan appearances out and showed us somebody like Sanjay Dutt, Zema Ion, Kenny King. any number of these guys that are really good wrestlers that should be on the show and getting the face time that they need.
I did like what we talked a little bit about the Aces and H thing, how when they had them all with the arms behind their back and the leader of the Aces, Ace is talking to them and telling Hogan to bring 2 of his top guys. Hogan's like, I'll be there. No, Hulk, 2 of your top guys. It's like Hulk can't get out of the spotlight.
Yeah.
And Sting's like, I'll do it. Put me in there, Hulk.
They're both hogging the spotlight from kids that could be there. Sting less so than Hogan, because Sting has in the past shown that he's willing to help put the kids over, where Hulk Hogan hasn't done as much.
No.
Besides a handful of guys, Hogan doesn't put over anybody. But basically, that's all we really have to say about our TNA and More show. I'm George Coles.
I'm Gary Rhodes.
And this is Heel Heat.